How are we doing, people? We're having a rerun. We're attempting the live stream again. Yes, it didn't quite go to plan, you could say, but we're trying to get it all sorted and done. Hopefully the lag and everything is okay. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Hopefully everything is working as we hope for. Now, this should be going out as a video. I couldn't put the last one out as a video because, quite frankly, it wasn't very good at all. So, hopefully, this one, the actual streaming side of things, is okay. Now, I'm watching it on my phone as we speak there. And I believe it's okay. So, tell people about it. Get people in the chat. Of course, we're going to have. We're going to be doing the match reaction for Oxford United versus Afc Wimbledon. Of course, the win yesterday. That's just what we're going to be doing. Also, we're going to be speaking about today's game as well. Today's games, should I say, as well. We're going to do a few. We're going to speak a little bit about today's game. In the Premier League, of course. There's a few games coming up in the Premier League as well. We've got 4 viewers, people, watching right now. Get in the chat, people. Get in the chat about yesterday's game. If you didn't watch yesterday's game, give your score predictions for today's game. We're going to be discussing them as well. But Oxford United versus AFC Wimbledon yesterday. I'm watching it now. The lag system looks like it's okay. But yeah, let's crack straight on with it. We've got 4 people in the chat right now. That's absolutely incredible. Let's crack straight things on with today's episode of the podcast. And Oxford United 2-0 against AFC Wimbledon. A great win. First half, it was dominant Oxford United attacking football. Second half, it wasn't really Oxford United's game. It wasn't a fantastic performance for Oxford United in the second half. But what it was is a great defensive performance, which is something that we've missed. We really have missed that side of the game. We've missed that defensive side of the game where we can scrap out a result and where we can really put a good performance in when we're grinding out a result, and that's what we did yesterday. Wimbledon, the first half, I was a little bit, I didn't know what was going to happen, but in the second half of the game, Wimbledon came at us and we defended it in great style. So I was really, really happy with the way that we defended against Wimbledon. Get in the chat as well. We've got 3 people in the chat right now. Get in the chat. Your thoughts. Say hello. I'll be replying to all of them. But yeah, this should be. It was a great performance for Oxford United yesterday. Really, really happy with it. I said in the title of the live stream, it's a fantastic performance. And I think it was a fantastic performance. Also, leave a like on this episode of the podcast as well. Whether you're watching this as a video or as a live stream as well, leave a like on it. That would be fantastic. Leave a like on this episode of the podcast. We've got 4 people watching right now. Get the people in here. Tell people about it. Talk to me in the live chat. And yeah, be very, very excited with that. Everything should be okay. The lagging seems to have stopped yesterday. I don't know what was going on, but today it all seems fine. I'm watching it on my phone right now. Everything seems to be pretty damn decent, which is, of course, what we want. We want to create good content on the podcast. So, let's have a little talk about the second half then, because Oxford United defended very, very well, and we spoke a lot about, and we have spoken a lot about how we have been very, very shaky defensively, and how our defence seems to be extremely shaky. But what we have found out as well is that we can now deal with a little bit of a pressure onto this defence, and we can deal with that pressure, which is something that we really simply haven't been able to do. Which is important, because I think for a successful team, and for a team to be successful in this division, and in football generally, you've got to have a strong defence that can deal with pressure. And I think we were able to do that. I think we were able to deal with pressure. I think we were able to deal with the way that they wanted to play. And that's important, because we haven't done that. We've seen a very, very shaky defence. We've seen change in that defence that have concerned me a little bit. But I generally do think that we've done very, very well yesterday. And we did do very, very well when teams were coming at us. And Wimbledon did that. And I was surprised about that, because I think Wimbledon in the first half worried me with the way... Not worried me, but if I was a Wimbledon fan, I'd be a bit worried about the way they were trying to play. They were trying to do something very, very different. And then they changed their game plan. They changed the way they wanted to play to suit them. They tried to demand basically more of their players. They tried with a very high press. They came at Oxford United much stronger, and that was important. And that was important because we needed that to happen. Wimbledon needed that to happen. They needed to change their game plan at 2-0. They could have changed it at 1-0 and they could have got maybe something out of the game. They definitely had some big chances and they definitely could have won the game or at least got something out of the game if they'd taken their chances. But a great performance from our goalkeeper, Jack Stevens. He's keeping his place in goal. There's no doubt about that. He has been incredible. I've been really, really impressed with his performance in goal, and I think when he's come in for Simon Eastwood, there's a bit of pressure on that because it's when you're a sub goalkeeper coming into the limelight. If you make a mistake, the main goalkeeper's going to come back in. Simon Eastwood's going to come back in. But I think the question that we're all going to be asking is who is the main goalkeeper at Oxford United now? Has Jack Stevens taken the opportunity that he was given with Simon Eastwood's bad form, taken that opportunity with two hands, and then obviously said, I'm going to put in a good performance. I'm going to show Carl Robinson, I'm going to show the Oxford United fans, players, everyone at the club that I can take this opportunity with two hands and do a good job. And they certainly did do that. He certainly did do that. He certainly did show what he can do. There's two people in the chat right now. Can you say hello in the chat? Say hello and we will reply to them now. We've been live 8 minutes. Hopefully everything's holding up okay. I'm watching it on my phone right now, not on the Wi-Fi. Otherwise I think that might be a reason why we weren't doing so well yesterday. I'm watching it on 4G and it seems to be okay. The actual stream seems to be holding up quite well, which is very, very good as well. I want high quality content on the podcast, of course we do. Hopefully the audio's okay as well. So yeah, hopefully the audio's okay. So yeah, second half performance, like we just mentioned there. Goalkeeper, great performance as well. And I think when you have a goalkeeper man of the match performance, I think that shows you exactly what we've sort of. I think that does show that we did have a lot of pressure upon us in the second half, and we were able to withstand that. I don't think Jack Stevens was probably my man of the match in the first half, but certainly in the second half he was my man of the match because that first half performance was quality, and Wimbledon, until they sort of did finish the game, finish the first half. And started the second half in that same sort of high press, high attacking mentality, which is important because they needed to do that. They needed to start with that mentality, and I was happy that they were able to do that. So. Because as much as a fan, it sounds strange, I'm happy, but I wanted to sort of see what the defence could do. It's interesting now to see how the defence could withstand from that, and I think we did well. It's another clean sheet, of course. That was a 0-0 draw against Blackpool the game before that, and then we had quite a long break. I think it was an 11-day break until the next game, obviously yesterday and Boxing Day, and we won the game with a clean sheet there as well. We've now got a difficult game, obviously, on Tuesday against Plymouth away. Can we keep another clean sheet? Can we maybe, can we take 3 points on that? I'm certainly going to certainly going to hope that we can take 3 points from that game because that's what we want. I want 3 points from that game. I want 3 points from that match because it's important that we do that. It's important that we build on results. It's the first time this season that we've got back-to-back results. It's the first time this season that we've won a game and then taken something out of that 4-0 win against Northampton. There was a game in between that. Sorry, I've missed the game. It was Blackpool, then Northampton. It's been so long since that. We took a back-to-back win from Northampton, took that into the game yesterday, and we showed that we can do that. That's 6 goals now in 2 games. No goals conceded. That's important that we are able to do that, and we're able to show that we can do that game by game and get something out of it. We've got 4 people in the chat right now. Say hello in the chat. I'll be replying to every single one of you. We're going to not be speaking just about Oxford United versus Wimbledon. We're going to be doing other things as well. We're live, incredible stuff. So, yeah, that's sort of the main summary of the game. In terms of my man of the match, it definitely would have been Jack Stevens. Jack Stevens won the actual man of the match, and I definitely do think that he deserved that man of the match performance. I think he was very, very good. If you could like this episode of the podcast, we've got 5 people watching right now. Leave a like on this episode of the podcast. Like it. There's 4 people watching it right now. If every single one of you leaves a like, we can get a few likes on this episode of the podcast, which does very well to open and expand the podcast, which is what we want to do. That would be incredible. So, yeah, we've done well. We did well yesterday, and we definitely, for the first time, like I've been banging on since the start of the season. I've been doing this podcast now since the start of the season, and I've been consistently banging on about, can we go and get a result and then take it into the next one? And I was worried when there was an 11-day break in between games because it's difficult to take something from a game into the next game when you've got such a long gap. You've got to add fatigue, sharpness into that, or maybe not fatigue because obviously they've had a break, but certainly sharpness. Match sharpness is important when you haven't played a game for a while. That sharpness is very, very difficult to sort of deal with, and I think we definitely could deal with that. And I think we dealt with it very, very well. So I was very, very happy with the fact that we could deal with that, and we could take something out of a game like we couldn't do when we've won games and then could take into another one. So I was happy that we took something from that. We've got 5 people in the chat right now. Say hello. Subscribe as well if you're new. We're trying to get as many subscribers as we can as well. We're on 126 subscribers right now, so if you could subscribe and you're new around here, that'd be fantastic. Leave a like on this of the podcast as well. We're going to be trying doing this as often as we possibly can. Now we've sort of got everything sorted with the stream quality, I'm much happier to do it more often. So yeah, hopefully we can do this as a more often thing. Whether or not it'll be every day, every game, I can't guarantee that. But now we're in we're in tier 4 where we are, which is with most of the country. I do generally think now we'll have a lot of time to do things like this. So if you're bored during this sort of second lockdown sort of thing, come along. We'll be live as much as we can, and we're going to be talking football live. Don't worry though, the normal episodes of the podcast, or the video episodes of the podcast, will be still coming out as well. I'm also thinking about doing watch-alongs as well. I did say we're going to do some watch-alongs. The only thing with watch-alongs is I'm not quite sure how that's going to withstand with the stream, watching a game, streaming a game of Oxford United, and streaming as well, because yesterday, obviously, we had a few technical issues, but now we're not doing anything. Everything seems to be going okay. So hopefully we can sort things out. We are going to try and sort things out. We definitely will be trying to do watch-alongs 100%. But for now, we're definitely going to be doing these live episodes of the podcast, match reactions, match previews. We're going to be doing other things as well, not just Oxford United games as well. I know this is the day later. I do apologise for that. But we are going to be doing other things as well, which is fan-dabby-tastic. So, yes, Oxford United versus Wimbledon 2-0 win. That does take us up the league table as well, which is important as well. I must say, going up the league table is an important thing, because obviously we have got to keep looking at the league table. I think I can bring up the league table right now. Now, bear with. I'm going to have to try and get the league table up as we speak. This is going to be very, very interesting to see if we can do this live. If I don't, I do apologise. But we are going to try and get the league table up right now. And I must say, we've done quite well with that win, and it's taken us into a very good position. I say good position, 15th, but 5 games unbeaten. 5 games unbeaten, and a game in hand on the team above us, which is Plymouth, who of course we've got on Tuesday night. Only 1 point, 1 point from Plymouth. Is that right? Is that 1 point? I don't know. That is 1 point. 1 point from Plymouth. Which is interesting. 1 point from Plymouth, and a game in hand on them as well. So that win will send us above Plymouth if we get that win as well. And then we are sort of in touching distance of not touching distance, but we are in a decent position of where we want to be. So if we can bring the league table up right now, let's see if we can. Actually, I don't really think we can, to be honest with you. I think we might be we're biting too much here. I don't quite know if this is going to be able to work. I don't think it is, but we will try. We will try for the next one. I will try and get the league table up available, but for the moment, I don't think we're going to risk too much. I mean, we are hanging on right now. It's the first one since yesterday's technical issue, so I'm not quite sure if we can hang on too much. But the league table, if it could have been seen, we would be looking pretty good. Because we are in a position now where we're not quite where we want to be, but we are pushing up to where we sort of want to be. We are still, I'd say, we are 10 points or so away from where we want to be, but 10 points with a game in hand on a few teams. Some teams have got 2 games in Accrington Stanley. They've got like nearly 4 games in hand on some people, obviously because of their game postponed. Of course, only 6 games went ahead yesterday because of COVID-19 games being postponed, which is obviously very, very frustrating for those fans. We've had it, of course, but Oxford United have had it. Not ideal, but hopefully we can sort things out, and obviously games can then go ahead. Because when we're all stuck inside, I do sort of want to be watching it, want to be able to watch football instead of play it. I don't think we'll be able to play it for a little while. I don't think we're going to be able to do many things for a while. But if we can watch football, I think that will be very, 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 very important. And a bit of a lifesaver, really, if we can be able to watch football. So hopefully, Boris and everybody, we can keep football going, and we can keep the football going strong. So I think that's where we're sort of looking at for the stream. I think that's where we're sort of looking right now for Oxford United versus Wimbledon. Of course, the games today, I will do my predictions for today's games, because I said I was going to do that, and I am going to do it. So the games today, I've got to double check which ones we've got going on today as well. We've got a few people in the chat right now. Thank you so much for watching so far. 3 people in the chat right now. 17 minutes into the podcast. Very, very good. Everything should be holding up right now. Everything shouldn't be too laggy. Hopefully, someone would have said by now if it has been lagging for 17 minutes. I would really hope that. Yesterday, of course, Arsenal beating Chelsea. Very interesting. I don't know if my friend, who is a Chelsea fan, is one of the viewers. Matthew Bell, first person in the chat today, saying, "You alright, mate? I am fine. How are you? How are you, my friend?" I'm absolutely fine. Matthew, did you have a good Christmas? I hope you did. And did you watch the game yesterday? Because if you did, I'd be interested to see what you thought of the game. Sunday, the 27th of December, of course, is today. Leeds versus Burnley. We're quickly do my predictions right now. Leeds versus Burnley. I think Leeds will win that game. I think Leeds will win that game 2-0. I think Leeds are going to win that. West Ham Brighton. I think West Ham are going to win that. I think West Ham are going to bounce back from their defeat against Chelsea. Unlike what Chelsea did yesterday. Not very, very good at all. Chelsea... Chelsea couldn't beat... Chelsea did obviously beat West Ham, but lost yesterday. West Ham versus Brighton. I think West Ham will win that game 2-0. 2-0 Leeds, 2-0 West Ham in their Leeds-Burnley, West Ham Brighton game. Liverpool-West Brom. Now, I think this could get quite messy. I'm sorry, West Brom fans. I don't have any. If we have any West Brom fans in the chat right now. Matthew Bell says, "Yeah, my Christmas was good, mate. Yeah, I watched the game. Stevens was class." Matthew Bell. He certainly was class, Matthew. I can certainly say that. Stevens was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible performance from Jack Stevens yesterday, as we mentioned already on the stream. Tom Merrow says Stevens deserves to start over Eastwood from now on. I'd say he probably does deserve to start from now on. Stevens deserves to start. I think he does. I don't think Eastwood can get anywhere near that starting lineup position. To be honest with you, I don't think we can sort of say that he's going to be coming into that between the sticks from starting position now for a while, because Jack Stevens has done nothing wrong, and I think he's not just not done anything wrong. He's also been very, very good. Agreed, Eastwood is not consistent enough. No, and Tom Murray also says until Eastwood proves himself again. 100%. Eastwood definitely needs to prove himself. And I think the only way he's going to be able to prove himself is in cup competitions, because in cup competitions, I think that's the only way he's going to get an opportunity. Carl's definitely not going to bring Eastwood in for league games because Stevens is doing extremely well. And Eastwood isn't consistent enough, 100%. He's not consistent. He's been good. He can pull off a worldie of a save, but then he can also make huge mistakes that can cost us games. Eastwood did cost us, I wouldn't say the game against Swindon, but I think he definitely did cost a big sort of chunk of definitely the 3 points. I think we probably would have got a point against Swindon. Obviously, then his mistake led to the defeat against Swindon. He may be a good keeper, but he makes too many mistakes like the playoffs. The playoffs was a horrific goalkeeping decision from Eastwood. And I like Eastwood. I generally do like Eastwood. I think what he's done for this football club is important. I think what he's done for this football club as a goalkeeper is very, very good. Because he's a quality goalkeeper. He's a quality goalkeeper. And I think he should be... I think he should be sort of still recognised as the Oxford United fans as a bit of a, I wouldn't say legend, but I think he definitely should be recognised as a great goalkeeper for Oxford United. I don't think this season's inconsistencies and obviously his playoff sort of mistake should be looked at as a should be looked at badly. Charlie OUFC says hi Charlie. Did you watch the game yesterday, mate? I'd be interested to see what you thought of the game as well. Got a few chats to catch up with. Tom Merrow says he may be a good keeper. No, we've already watched that. Matthew says should we sell Eastwood for the cash and improve elsewhere? The interesting thing about that, Matthew, is I don't really think we're going to get any from Eastwood. How much would we get from Eastwood? I think that's the important thing, because he's out of contract at the end of the season. He's out of contract at the end of the season. With a few players as well. Mark Sykes. I do want to hear a few people's opinions on Mark Sykes. If anyone's got any opinions on Mark Sykes, that issue as well, we will be discussing that as well. I love this interaction, people. This is incredible. I'm absolutely loving it right now. We've got 7 people as well. This is incredible. Give your thoughts on that Mark Sykes situation. Also, if you watched the game yesterday, what do you think? And also, give your predictions for today's games as well, and your thoughts on the London derby yesterday against Arsenal versus Chelsea. Awful Chelsea performance, I must say. But anyway, going back to Matthew's point about should we sell him, we're going to have to sell him in January if we want any money, because obviously if he doesn't get a new contract, he's obviously going to have to go on a free in the summer. So if we're going to get any money, it's going to have to be in January. So that's going to be interesting to see if we can get any money for him in January. But no, I don't think we will get any money for him in January, really, because if the scouts, obviously it all comes down to the scouts and what they're doing. If scouts watch the games and watch the performances that he's been putting in and are interested in buying him, then on form who is going to be interested in buying him right now? He hasn't been consistent enough, as obviously a lot of people have said in the chat. So if obviously he hasn't been consistent, who's going to want to buy him? I understand the point. If we obviously he's not consistent enough. I understand if he's not consistent enough, and I get that. I also understand we could cash in and improve elsewhere, but it's interesting how much we're going to get. Obviously, if he'd signed if he still had 3 years left on his deal, which would be extremely unlikely because he's about 34 now. Obviously, that would be crazy. Because obviously, if we're, he's not consistent enough. By the way, there's 9 people in the stream right now. Welcome. Leave a like and subscribe to the podcast if you're watching right now. Thank you so much. Unbelievable. It's incredible. I don't want to sound too cheesy, but I love the fact that everyone's watching it and everyone's enjoying it. So leave a like as well. Should we cash in? No, I don't think we'll be able to cash in, to be honest with you, Charlie, if you want my honest opinion. John Henley says we don't need a centre back to start. This is obviously a reply from Charlie's from Matthew's comment. So he may be good. So in conclusion about, oh my God, they're flooding in. So if we come, hang on, catch up, stay with me, people. We're just holding in on there. He may be a good keeper, but he makes too many mistakes. Yeah, we did that. Should we cash in? I don't know how much money we're going to get if we do cash in because his contract is ending at the end of the season. We need to improve on our centre backs. I'm loving this sort of. We've got a little bit of a discussion in the chat right now. This is improving. We don't need a centre back to start, says Tom Merrill. I don't think we need. I do agree with the comment that says we don't need a centre back to start because I think Rob Atkinson and Elliot Moore's a good partnership and good centre backs. But I also do agree with Tom about buying in a centre back because, to be honest with you, otherwise we're going to have to be putting obviously the youngster Nico Jones in, which I don't mind, but he's very inexperienced at this level, and also John Messinho, who I do think is a little bit past it as a centre back. I don't mind him in a defensive midfield role, but his pace at the defence does worry me a little bit. And he's getting on a little bit now, bless him. But he's a good player, 100%. But I do think we need to improve on our centre backs' depth, not maybe starting centre backs 100%, but depth. Ever since Dickie left, there's been a gap in that defence. I get the point. I get that point. But I would say is I think Atkinson's done quite well recently. The only thing with Atkinson is consistency with. Staying fit. If he could stay fit, then I think we could be okay there. He may be. Would you rather sign? Hang on, I've got one more comment in there. Charlie says, I mean, he's a good keeper, which is what people don't understand. He's just going under some bad form. 100%. I think that's what we've sort of mentioned a little bit. I think, I do think he is going under a little bit of bad form. 100%. I do think there is 100 bad form there, but I think when you have bad form, I think you've got to take him sort of stepping away a little bit from the limelight, and obviously gives Jack Stevens a go, and Jack Stevens has taken that opportunity with 2 hands in a goalkeeping sense as well as an opportunity sense. Someone says here. Well, I think after the second knockout, we don't need a centre back. We don't need a centre back to start. Says John. I think you're right there. We don't need a centre back to start. I think we did say that. I think after the second goal knockout, Wimbledon were more motivated and played better than us. Stevens really a prime Neuer. Prime Neuer, says Charlie about Eat Stevens. I think he'll take that. Prime Neuer. That's an interesting comment. Interesting sort of. Well, it's a great comment, but it's an interesting one. I disagree. He's not good. The first part of the question was too good. Yeah, definitely. I think Wimbledon were very much motivated. We're definitely very motivated to get back into the game. I think that's important. Tom then says, I disagree. He's getting on age-wise. May as well sell him, get more cash than we will next season if we sold him. I think the answer to that would be mainly is, do I think we'll get that much money from him? He's 30. He's 30, well into his 30s now. He's a goalkeeper in bad form, and he's at the end of the contract. He's at his end of the contract. His contract ends. I'll say it like that. His contract ends at the end of the season. So how much would we get from him? I understand the point though. Moore and Rob should be our back 2 centre backs, 100%. Yeah, I think that's definitely what we've been saying. 100% agree with that. John. Charlie says this is crazy to think. Maybe 3 at the back. 3 at the back. That'd be interesting. The only thing with the 3 at the back I'd say, and I think I have sort of read ahead a little bit, as a few people have been saying, do not ever go near 3 at the back at the moment. Chance is a 3 at the back. I don't think we'll go 3 at the back. I don't think we'll ever do that. Carl Robinson's very sort of set in stone with the way he wants to play. He doesn't like playing 3 at the back. I don't think he's ever played 3 at the back as a manager. And also with 3 at the back, it does mean then we've got to then bring, obviously, then the full backs would obviously, unless we play a straight 5 at the back, obviously with 3 centre backs. I'm guessing you mean 3 at the back with wing-backs. Is Sam Long a wing-back? Is Josh Revels a wing-back? And obviously with that, you have to sacrifice a midfielder. Which midfielder will we sacrifice? That would be interesting. We need a backup centre-back, not a starter in my opinion. 100% John, I think that's 100% agreed. Josh, Elliott, Sam. Sam Long as a centre-back. I think he's done well at centre-back when he's in there, but do I think that Sam Long as a centre-back is going to be a permanent thing? I like him at right back. I think he's really improved as a right back. Not sure about him completely as a centre back. I'm loving this, by the way. Keep the chats flying in. Our centre backs are 2 slow for a 3 at the back. I wouldn't say Atkinson's slow. I wouldn't say Moore's very slow. I would say Rob Atkinson's probably quicker than Elliot Moore. Sam Long, is he quick? He's definitely got quicker since he's been playing more, which is incredible. I'm so impressed with Sam Long. My player of the season so far. Don't know about you, that's another one as well. Give your player of the season so far. We'd be overloaded by pace. We would be overloaded by pace. Oh, you mean for an attacking team coming at our slow centre backs? What you're trying to say? I think so. Atkinson is injury prone, yes, but we definitely need a backup. I like Nico, but not ready for the first team. 100% right, John. I do think Atkinson is injury prone, like we've just said, but we definitely need a backup centre back because, like you said there, Nico is a bit experienced, and Massinio's getting on a little bit as well. If you were to have one ex-Oxford player back, who would it be and why? What a question! Get your questions in right now. This is incredible. If you were to have one ex-Oxford player back, who would it be and why? Who would it be? Who would we have back if it was? I think it's between a few. Obviously, I haven't been watching since back in the day. I started watching Oxford United I think my first game with Oxford United was in the playoff final to get into the Football League against York at Wembley, a long time ago. I'd probably say it between Kemar Roofe. I think Kemar Roofe's gone on to have an incredible career. Obviously Leeds, Anderlecht, and now obviously Rangers. I think Kemar Roofe is extremely good. I think it's a great shout. I think Lundstrom. Lundstrom's incredible, what he's done for Sheffield. Probably Baldock as well. Out of all of them, they're my top 3. Baldock, Lundstrom, I'm probably going to miss one, but Baldock, Lundstrom, Roofe, out of all of them right now, in terms of what we need, I'd probably go and say Roofe, because I think we needed maybe an extra attacker in there. I think we've got Brannigan. I know Brannigan and Lundstrom are nowhere near on the same page, but for the level, I think Brannigan is our good midfield option when he comes fit, of course. And Baldock's are crazy. They're all incredible, but I'd probably have to say anyone of Lundstrom, Baldock, or Roofe. We've got a lot to catch up with here. Atkinson is injury prone, yes. Second half, we played similar to how we did in the second half against Swindon, to be honest. They just couldn't finish. I'd agree with that. I think we did sit back a little bit, and I think we did invite the pressure, John. So I do agree with that. Matthew says, if you were to have one, yeah, we said that there. I reckon we would get around 700k for Simon Eastwood. If we get 700k for Simon Eastwood, that would... I don't know. If we get 700k for Eastwood, I think that would probably be one. I think Tiger and the board at Oxford United probably would have done the most incredible business they've ever done if they can get 700k for a player that's out of contract at the end of the season. I think in his prime we probably would have got 700, not when he's about 34 and his contract ends at the end of the season. Remember, if they want Eastwood, all they've got to do is wait till the end of the season and they get him for free unless we give him a contract. Defo bring back the goal, Chris Maguire, the GOAT, Chris Maguire, I think that means GOAT Chris Maguire, yes. Chris Maguire's quality. Chris Maguire is quality. For Eastie, someone says they're 500 to 600k. I'm quite surprised at the high numbers. Maybe I've been a little bit harsh. I think 500k is definitely more reasonable for realistic, should I say. Yes, I love Maguire. Eastie wouldn't go for 500k or more because of age and form. Yeah, John, I think that's what I'm saying, and because he's out of contract. I really think Stevens, if it wasn't for him, we would be in 24th, second place. I think that's spot on, Charlie. I do think that's 100%. I think he is showing, really. I really do think he is showing, to be honest with you, how important he is. And I think if you put Jack Stevens in from the start of the season, I know it's if, buts and maybes, but if we did put him in since the start of the season, what impact would have made? Would we be higher? I think we probably could, because I think we probably would have got something out of some good games, Swindon in particular. So I think he is a huge reason why we are improving. I think Liam Kelly, he's been in good form recently and playing great. He wasn't great yesterday, but Liam Kelly has been very, very good, I think. He's much better in that more attacking role. In that defensive midfield role where Gorin is, I worry. I do worry about him. Kelly has been playing great, just don't want him anywhere near Gorin's place. Play Hansen, someone says. Colley's been playing great, just don't want him anywhere near Gorin's place. Yes, and I think you're referring to there... the situation where, of course, we've now got Gorin on another yellow card, which means he's not playing against Plymouth. So who will play in that defensive midfield role? I personally think it will be Kelly. Do I want it to be Kelly? John clearly doesn't. I don't think it will. I don't want it to be either. I don't think Kelly does that job anywhere near as good as Gorin. He's not any. But I do think Kelly's incredible. Not incredible. It's a bit too far. But I think he's very, very good further up the field, not in that defensive midfield role. And I do think you're spot on there, John. I do think having Hansen playing there would be a better shout, in my opinion. Buffy says his player. I'm guessing this is a player that he wants to bring back. Tarek Fossett. Excuse me. Really miss him. Yes, I do miss Tarek Fossey. He was a great player. He was a bit inconsistent when he left, though. He started off amazing, and then he trailed off a little bit. But no, I understand what you mean. Great player. He wasn't as good as Roof, says Charlie. I'm guessing that's Tarek Fossey wasn't as good as Roof. Tom says, I really miss Righty at centre-back. He controlled the team so well. I'm guessing you mean, Mark Wright, of course. Is it Mark? It's not Mark Wright. It's Jake Wright, sorry. Jake Wright. Is he still at Bolton these days? I'm not too sure. Tom Merrill says, John Henry says, I personally think Elliot Moore has stepped up as centre-back. And there are all the chats there coming as well. If you'd like to give your man, I think he definitely has stepped up as centre-back, by the way. Stepped up as captain, by the way. John's got another one. I'm a massive Gorin fan. Seems as if when he gets a yellow card, he stops playing well. And I do think that's the case. I do think that is probably a case of security a little bit. He doesn't want to get sent off. But the problem is the way he plays football, he does get booked a lot. So it's very likely that he does get booked. He does get booked quite often. So it's very, very usual that he does get booked. So no, I understand what you mean now. I'm a massive Gorin fan, but yeah, he does get yellow cards, and obviously he does have to sort of stay back a little bit, and he doesn't risk getting sent off. John also says, no, we stopped playing well as a team. Oh, right, okay. You said, I didn't read your comment right. Seems as well we get his cards, we stopped playing well. We stopped playing well as a team. Maybe, yeah, I'd probably say that's the case. But I also think, I know that what I said wasn't actually answering your question, but I do actually think, the reason why we probably stopped playing well is because we are having Gorin play a little bit cautious, and the other team are a bit worried that we haven't got Gorin as that sort of like safety net in front of the defence. So I think our team probably does play a little bit, and we do sort of invite the pressure a little bit when he is on a yellow card. But I understand what your comment is now. I read it wrong. Apologies. Matthew says, is Sykes injured or just not getting picked? I think him being behind Taylor with Henry on the right and Shadeep on the left will cause opposition defences mayhem. Is Sykes injured? He's not injured. And the problem is, I don't really think, and John's just said it there, I don't think Robinson likes Sykes. I don't think he does. He obviously publicly came out very openly and didn't say that Sykes did very well. He openly said about Sykes not doing a great job. And he came on against Swindon as a substitute, and he sort of did let that Swindon player walk past him, where he should have either tackled him, at least gone to him and pressured him. He didn't, and we conceded from that. So I think Sykes is probably very annoyed at Carl Robinson, and I think Carl Robinson is evidently very annoyed at Sykes. So I think Sykes is a player that I do think's on the edge of being a problem, of him potentially leaving the club as well. I do think we might see Mark Sykes leave in January. I'm calling it now. We will be doing a January transfer episode of the podcast where we're going to be going through all the positions we need. You lot have absolutely done crazy stuff in terms of that as well. But no, he's not injured. But he did get Mark Sykes did get sort of publicly called out by Robinson after the Swindon game, and since then we haven't seen Mark Sykes in the league. We have seen him for a little bit in the cup competition as well. Apparently he did okay in that competition, but I don't think Robinson and Sykes are looking eye to eye right now, that's for sure. But I understand your point there, playing behind Taylor and Henry, 100%. I think behind Taylor and Henry, I do think he'd be good. But again, you're dropping McGuane, who I think is in fantastic form. You're dropping Kelly, who we know can do a great job, and you definitely don't want to drop Gorin. So I get your point though, 100%. What happened to Moose? How come he's not starting anymore? I get that Rob and Elliott are good, but Moose was so good last season. What's happened? I guess, yeah, I think John is answering the questions on his opinion, and I can't agree more. Moose is technically a coach. He's only really get played when needed, 100%. We've had injuries to Rob Atkinson quite a lot this season, and I actually think we've obviously seen Sam Long play at right back. go from right back to play at centre back. So I don't actually think he's second choice. I actually do think now probably Sam Long's second choice centre back. But I do think Moose is getting a little bit now, and I think he is struggling a little bit. Henry has been poor this season. However, he's picking up his form on the pitch. Now, I'm guessing you mean, as in he's picking up his form at the moment, but he hasn't been in great form. He hasn't been in great form, I have to say. He missed that penalty against Fleetwood. That's a standout Henry disaster for me so far this season. But I agree with your point, 100%, Henley, John Henley. I do think he has. He hasn't been in great form. We know what Henry can do. We know what Henry can offer to Oxford United, and he hasn't really done it too much consistently this season. I think he's been in poor form, and I think he hasn't been very, very consistent, which worries me a little bit. It does worry me a lot. Get your things in the chat right now. We've got 5 people in the chat right now. The chat is streaming with people coming in with their thoughts as well. I'm loving this interaction. Give your thoughts down below. As well. I'm a massive fan of Henry too. On his day, one of the best playmakers in the league, 100%. He was in the player of the, I'm pretty sure he was definitely in the FIFA 20 EFL Player of the Season last year. So if EA are recognising he's doing something good, he must be doing something alright. And I do think he was actually in the team of the season. He was definitely in the team of the season, I believe. For the actual official team of the season for League One as well. He was great last season. He was important to our success last season, I must say. Give your down below in the chat right now. I think I might be a little bit behind. I'm not too sure. Give your thoughts on the player of the season. Player of the season so far. If player of the season was to be announced, who would you like to who would you give that to right now if player of the season was right now? John says, I'd like to see bring Cadden back. Thank you, John. What a point. What a point. Cadden has been incredible. Cadden was incredible for Oxford United, and I was gutted when he left. I actually think Cadden is one of the best loan signings we've ever had at the club. I'm a huge Cadden fan. The attacking, it just fitted Robinson's way of football so well. You know, that sort of that real sense of sort of attacking fullback, getting up there, putting the ball into the box, his pace. He was incredible. I loved him. However, saying that, I think Sam Long's done a good job. I wouldn't say Sam Long's better than Chris Cadden, but I think Sam Long's improved enormously, and I do definitely think he deserves to play more often because Sam Long's doing an incredible job as well. Player of the season, Alex Gorin or Sam Long? Couldn't agree more. I think you're spot on there. If I was to do my player of the season, it would be either Alex Gorin or Sam Long. Sam Long's edged him slightly, I think, because Gorin was injured for the start of the season and he's missed a few games. Sam Long has been incredible throughout consistently. I don't think Sam Long's had a bad game. So, yeah, Sam Long's my player of the season so far. We've got 5 other people in the chat right now. Give your thoughts on the player of the season right now as well. We've got so many people coming in the chat. I'm absolutely loving this as well. Thank you so much to every single someone that's in the chat right now. He has quality at centre back, to be honest. Yeah, Sam Long, you're speaking about there. Sam Long was quality at centre back. I think he did a great job covering in. I loved the fact that he could cover in and do a great job, and he did do a great job as well. I was a bit worried about him because he's not the tallest of players, and when we think centre backs, I think we do think height, and Sam Long isn't the tallest centre back, but he's been able to deal with it quite well. So, yes, I'm happy with that. Just making sure everything's okay with my with the chat right there. No, he was quality. He was a quality centre back, and I'm really, really impressed with Sam Long and his performance there as well. Also, if you'd like to give your score predictions as well, I know we've been sort of given a lot of questions, but I want to get this interaction going. Really, I do want to get this interaction going. Really sort of consistently. Can you give your score predictions for the game against Plymouth on Tuesday night? It's a quick turnaround. It's a very, very quick turnaround. Having a game on Tuesday against Plymouth. Give your score predictions on that game as well. Plymouth are ahead of us in the league table by 1 point, and we've got a game in hand on them as well. So yeah, let's check the likes. Have we got any few likes? Yes, we have. We've got quite a few likes. Oh no, we haven't. That's the people watching, Jack. But good effort. Hopefully we can have a few likes. If you're watching this right now, leave a like on this episode of the podcast. Leave a like. Oh yeah, we have got likes. We've got 7 likes. 7 likes. Incredible stuff. I had to refresh it. Thank you to everyone that has liked this podcast. It's incredible. I'm loving it. Matthew's giving his score predictions. He says 1-0 to Oxford United. 100%. I do think we will win the game. Would I go 1-0 Oxford United? I think we might beat them 2-0, you know. I think 2-0. I think an Oxford win might be the way to go. I'm going to go with 4-0. That's right, 4-0. 2 each for Taylor and Henry. Wow. That's a solid prediction. A confident one, to say the least. 2-0 to Oxford United is my prediction. Matthews is 1-0 and Johns is 4-0. There's a few people in the chat as well. We've got quite a few people watching the stream right now. I say quite a few. We've got 5, but for the first one, it's pretty decent, and the interaction's incredible. So if you give your score predictions as well, if you're watching this right now, score predictions for Oxford United versus Plymouth on Tuesday. Incredible. I'm so glad that we did this stream today, because I was very unhappy with yesterday's one. It wasn't very good and it didn't go up, but this one will definitely be going up because the interaction, the people, the questions is incredible. If you're watching this as a video, by the way, and you're 40 minutes in to this podcast episode, first of all, you're loyal, because I don't think I'd be sitting there for that long, and also this is what you're missing out on. Definitely tune into the live streams, because these live streams are going to be exciting. I'm thrilled. I'm excited to see what's going to happen here with these live streams as we go forward. Although without Gorin, we might concede. I think actually, I'd probably rephrase that. I think although without Gorin, we might lose, because I do think Gorin is that important that that could be the deciding player in the way that we play. Gorin is so important to this Oxford United philosophy and so important with the mentality that we try and play. It's very difficult to do that. Matthew says, are you going to be doing a watch-along? Are you going to be doing watch-alongs? I will be trying to do watch-alongs, mate. I did sort of mention it quickly at the start, but I'll mention it now. Now we've got sort of a few people in the thing. The reason why the watch-alongs isn't going to be straight away is because I've got to sort a few things out, because obviously with the sort of watching, live streaming a game and also live streaming to you people, that does affect the stream a little bit, and yesterday we did see that the lag was horrific, but now we're all working fine. The lag's fantastic and it's a great stream. Hopefully, I hope it's a great stream, not blowing my own trumpet. Hopefully the stream quality is quite good. So yeah, we will try to be doing watch-alongs. I think the watch-alongs would be exciting. Matthew said, John says I'd love a watch-along. I do think watch-alongs would be incredible. If we could do a watch-along, that would be very, very good. I will be trying my hardest. I promise you I'll be trying my hardest to do a watch-along. I've missed a few there. Although without Gorin might lose. I do think we might be that will be a deciding factor. Tom Merritt says 3-1 to Oxford. 3-1 to Oxford, confident. I said 2-0, so technically the same. 3-1, same sort of goal thing. Elliot 1 goal. Hang on. Elliot 1 goal. Taylor 1 goal, and Henry 1 goal. Okay, I understand what you mean there. Interesting. Elliot Moore for 1 goal. That's incredible. Saying that though, he has got some good goals. He has scored some goals this season. John said love a watch along. Sorry, Moore and Hanson. Will Brannigan be back for Tuesday? He was meant to be in the squad. That's a good point. He was meant to be in the squad for yesterday's game, but he didn't get in the squad. Apparently, it was very close whether or not he'd be in the squad, of course. However, I think he might be in the squad. The thing is, who are you going to take out of the squad? If we look at the squad yesterday, has anyone got the squad list for yesterday? Has anyone got the subs for yesterday? Because which sub are you going to drop from yesterday? I'm going to bring it up right now. Apologies if I miss anything. I can't see the chat at the moment as I look this up. But if we look at yesterday's sub bench, who does Brannigan come in for? Because he's definitely going to come in, but who is he going to come in for? I can read the subs out right now. If I read the subs out, you people in the chat, you tell me who Brannigan should come in for and who should be out of the squad, because it's difficult, really. It is difficult. I don't think it's as easy as it is. Where is the lineup? Normally the lineup is there. But no, I don't know what will happen. I think Brannigan should step in. I'd play with Gorin, Kelly and Cameron Brannigan in the middle, says John. So you're dropping McGuane, yeah. Oh, Reese, we've got a new person. Reese, welcome to the stream, mate. Welcome, your first not super chat. Who do I think I am? The first live chat. Welcome, Reese, to the stream. Subscribe if you're new, of course. Like this episode of the podcast. Incredible. Welcome to the Young Fan Podcast, the first live stream of ever. But back to the question. Will Brannigan be back for Tuesday was the question I answered there. But the extended question would be, who would you take out of the squad for Brannigan? Because we've got because obviously I do think he definitely does come in, there's no doubt about that. But who does he come in for? I think it's the interesting one. Because obviously we do have a full bench, of course, and it's going to be interesting to see who we bring him in for. I'm going to bring the squad up really, really quickly right now. Who was lining up on the bench for Oxford United? So on the bench we had Eastwood, so we're always going to have a sub goalkeeper. Clare, Hall, Ford, Aji, Hanson, Shadipo. In my personal opinion, I absolutely love Hall as a person. Not as a person. I've met him once. Didn't have too much of a chat with him, I have to say. But I think Hall can offer something 100%. But I do think if Cameron Brannagan comes in, we might see Hall drop out of the squad, because I think Hall has been sort of on and off is there as well. So I do think we probably will see see Hall probably come out for Brannagan, in my opinion. But you think there as well. You give your predictions on that as well. I do think Brannagan has to come back in, but who for is important. We've been live for coming up to 50 minutes. It's important. I thought I was going to leave the stream about 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but because your interaction has been incredible, I can't thank you enough for that. Reese said, sorry, I haven't answered all of it there. John says, drop McGuane lost his form recently. Interesting with that. I think McGuane played quite well yesterday. I understand what you mean. I don't think it was his best game yesterday, and he hasn't got 90 minutes under his belt yet for Oxford United. But what I would say is that's a difficult one. Who do you take out of that team? In my opinion, I think my midfield three would be Gorin, McGuane, Brannagan. Because I think what it reminds me of is McGuane shows very, very similar footballing traits to Baptiste. If any of you agree with that, leave that down below in the comments. In the chat. I think Baptiste definitely does offer something there, because I think Baptiste and McGuane, they're very powerful, they're very strong, they're very physical, they've got good footwork. They offer the same sort of thing. So that'll be interesting. Scoring is suspended for a 5th yellow. Oh, I thought, okay, yeah. That well done. That's very, very good. What I meant was for my actual first three probably would be my main three when Gorin, of course, he is suspended for the Plymouth game. My main three would probably be when everything's fit, Gorin, McGuane, Brannagan. But for Plymouth, of course, like Reece very correctly pointed out there, I've made a bit of a mistake there. He is suspended for Plymouth games. I don't think, and what I would say as well is I don't think Brannagan will start against Plymouth. I don't think he's that ready yet. But if he was to start against Plymouth, I think we probably would have to play. I'd like to see Hansen in the defensive midfield role where Gorin is, and then McGuane and Brannagan. But I can see it being Kelly in that defensive midfield role, and if Brannagan starts, probably be Brannagan and McGuane. I think Kelly complements Brannagan better than McGuane does. I think Kelly complements Brannagan. Hang on, I've just got to work exactly what that means. I think Kelly complements Brannagan better than McGuane does. I do think that's right, so that's why I think I probably would play McGuane and Brannagan, because I think, I don't know. We've got, this is what I mean about it being about this live discussion. It's very interesting. It gets your brain thinking. I don't know. Hansen is not first choice. Hansen is not first choice in my opinion. He's not first choice in my opinion. At the moment, I don't think he's first choice. But I do think if Kelly, when Brannagan is when Gorin's suspended, I'd probably like to see Hansen playing in defensive midfield instead of Kelly, because we've seen Kelly play there at the start of the season when Gorin was injured, and it wasn't the same. It really wasn't the same. I think Hansen definitely does offer us something more defensively, which I think is what we need. Matthew says maybe he comes in for Kelly and rests Kelly on the bench. I'd have to agree with that as well. I think maybe. Hang on, let me read that. I just said I agree with that. I haven't really read it properly. Maybe he comes in for Kelly and rests Kelly. I'd probably say so. I think that's what I said. And John says, and vice versa with Gorin. 100%. He says Hansen in midfield. Everyone seems to be forgetting him about what Brannagan What about Brannagan, Hansen, McGuane? So you're dropping Gorin and I mean for the game on Plymouth, you'll have to drop Gorin, of course, because he's suspended. But for that, I probably would say Brannagan, McGuane, and Hansen probably would be my midfield for Plymouth. And John says Hansen is not first choice, as we've said there as well. I don't think he is first choice. I don't think he is, but I'd like to see him be there. I mean, it is, and instead of Gorin. It is as in Kelly and Cam are passes of the ball. McGuane drives at players, 100%, and Kelly and Brannagan certainly are passes of the ball, and McGuane certainly does drive at players, which will leave gaps between, whereas Kelly and Cam rely on their passing. Therefore, I think it's better partnership. I think you've justified your point fantastically there, mate. And I have to agree with that. You've done it. I think definitely I think that's a great comment. Comment of the day definitely does go to that. I'm going to have to read that again completely so I can sort of imagine that midfield, because I have to visualise it. So your midfield partnership, in conclusion, would be Kelly, Cameron Brannagan passes the ball, McGuane drives up players, which just leaves gaps between Kelly and rely on the passing. Right? Okay, I understand what you mean. I do think they're a better partnership alongside Gorin there as well. We're coming up to an hour episode of the podcast right now, so I am going to be ending the podcast here. Thank you ever so much for every single one of you that has watched and been watched this episode of the podcast. It has been incredible. Last comment, I think McGuane will be better alongside two defensive midfielders. I do think so. I think he probably would be better alongside two defensive midfielders, but who are those defensive midfielders? Gorin and Anson. I do think Brannigan has to be in there. So yeah, I understand what you mean though. I do think he probably would be. But thank you so much for everyone that's watched this episode of the podcast. It really has been incredible. It's absolutely been incredible. Hopefully the stream quality has been good as well. Everyone that's been in the chat, I thank you so much. It's been incredible. I've loved every second of it. The interaction's been incredible. Please come back as well. Subscribe if you're new. Please come back because we will be doing... we will be trying to do this as often as we possibly can. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. If this is a video, of course. And I thank you so much everyone that's watched to this live as well. If you're watching this as a video and you're not watching it live, then obviously definitely tune in because live streams are incredible. So say subscribe to this live episode of the podcast. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, everyone in the chat. And I will see you later. See you in a bit, people. Thank you again, and I'll see you in a bit. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you probably on Tuesday for the game against Plymouth. See you in a bit.